Hey guys, so today we're at New Age Sports and I'm going to show you a cool little trick on how to increase the velocity on the F-Stamp T4E double barrel. So we're going to have to first start off by taking this thing apart. I'll just make sure there's no air in the system, obviously, or CO2 actually. Just take your cap off and you start off by removing the screws here. I want to make sure to take this screw off also for the bottom of this rail. Just like that. So once you take that off, you'll see that it's starting to separate. So you'll just don't pull too hard. Hold a little bit of force and just slowly separate. If there's any screws you may have missed, just take those out. Just make sure your screws are all the way out, because you don't want to fight with this, because this is just, I want to say it's ABS plastic. Oh, yeah, let's not forget this either. So take these off. Alright, now those are pretty much loose out of the way. The cover should come off just like that. Make sure not to lose the top screws that go onto this. So put those right there. So now I have all my screws sitting in the holes right now, so I don't have to worry about losing them. Put that right there. So now we're down to, now we got the shell off and we can see what the internals look like. So we're going to need to get to this sucker here. So to get to that, we can start off by removing the front barrel. Hit the lever to actually release it from the locking mechanism. And just pull up. There is a spring here. So just make sure not to lose that spring. Yeah, this sucker here. So now we got our double barrels there. So this should come out just like that. So now we're down to this. So now to start taking this apart, take this screw off here, because we need to get the skeleton, well, not really the skeleton, but this shell apart. Now just make sure, like I said again, don't get your screws mixed up. You want your internal screws staying with the internal screws and outer shell screws staying with the outer shell screws. That one in, this one out, this one out. This one also. Alright. So now let's get those screws out that we took off. Put them in a neat little pile over here. See if there's any that we have out of the way and take those out. This one here too. Right. That one. This one here. And that should be all you have to take off. So something want to start by just wiggling this apart. Don't want to pull too hard because there is some stuff that's under spring tension. So now that we got the shell off, we can now focus our attention to the internals. So the internals here, let me take this arm off. So just pay attention how the orientation goes. See how there is this line here, how it kind of grooves down. So you want that connecting onto the selector switch like that. Okay, so now we get that out of our way. Now for this, we're going to take off these two screws. Just two screws. You don't have to take anything else off. All the way, because they will fight with us. What we need to do next. So now you also take off this screw back here. And then we gotta disconnect the brass line. So just simply twist up and pull. Okay. It is under O-ring tension, so just make sure to pay attention to the O-ring and washer that's right there. So put that right there. Take the rest of the brass tube up, put it to the side. Now we can start pulling the front end, just like that. Okay? Not that hard. So now we have so now we have this. This is where the air goes through. See, this would be the chamber where your pimples would sit and it would blast. There is no real bolt, just a chamber for where air goes through. So, now, focus our attention onto this. So if you see here, we're going to have to take that off. Be careful with this. This can come off. It's not screwed in. It is just under slight O-ring tension, and it does fall off. So be careful. Just don't walk around really with it. So we take our bolt off. Now we got ourselves some needle nose pliers, and we connect and we rotate. So it doesn't need too many turns to come off. Go. Now that that's off, this would be inside. So if you look at this, if you focus a little better, so this would be inside here. This is basically a spacer to reduce the amount of volume you have inside. So with this inside, it would fit in better, but I took it out already. But this inside, it would reduce the amount of volume, which would bring your shot down to around 200 FPS. Taking this out would bring your FPS to around 300, and after a few shots you should be around 280. So it's good. It's good to take this out, unless you want the efficiency. But just keep in mind your efficiency is going to go out the window now that you're taking that out. So now we can start reassembly of the marker. So we'll just put our cap back on. So like we did, but reverse. Simply twist that back in. Go. Now that's nice and tight in there. And we can put our bolts back on. Let's not forget about our brass. See? Look at that. It already fell out. Just a brass washer pretty much over and over. So let's put that back on. So then we reconnect our brass tube. And then we gotta put this back on, which is the tricky part because it's under tons of spring tension. So we push that. And there we go. I want to make sure it just sits in there. Like that. boy, we forgot one thing. We forgot to put this back on. Yeah, we need this. This is
They are.
This is real important.
Ever. They don't even stick. Like you open it and the thing that's supposed to keep it is like horrible. I just have to because actually I'm supposed to.
You can pull it off on that. Just don't squeeze too hard because you don't want to bend those in.
Yeah. They had a buddy giving me shit. Oh, hold on. I don't know if that.
Okay.
If that one goes.
So
Does that
this
match that?
goes in like that. See how that goes in? Because it has this lip, so it sits in there. Like so.
Generally speaking, it's just
So then with the spring, it sits in there nice and tight. So you have to, again, fight with the spring tension. And then we gotta push it in. So now it's back in there like that. We can put the rear back in. So we want to make sure this O-ring and washer doesn't go past this lip here. Oh, and that came off. That's no big deal though. But yeah, you want to pull it out like that, so where it sits in the very tip of it, because it needs to clear this lip here. So then we bring it down, push. You should hear like somewhat of a click.
Well, it's good to keep changing.
So now that's back in there like that.
You're going back in time, dude. You're not going forward in time.
So
You're going
then
back in time.
we connect that back in there, and just like that, the O-ring and washer has been reseated, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. So now we need to worry about putting the screws back in there. Focus on small Phillips.
Oh, that is horrible!
That's back on.
Nah,
I put this screw back in. Sure, it's not nice and nice and tight. You don't want to over torque it though, because you can strip it out. And I imagine this is probably important, so you don't want to do that. Okay. Okay, that's back on. So now we'll grab our selector switch. You'll see in the selector switch, there's 3 little holes right on there. So you want to line it up with the ball bearing right there. So I had it set at the center setting. So just keep in mind on how you have it set before you take it apart. And then the reassembly part is pretty easy, because if you see how that slipped there, it goes between this 2 grooves and hooks onto that right there. So it's really not that hard to put back on. You look at that. Just goes right on there like that. Okay, now we put our shell. And we simply push it back together like this. Want to just see how it works. Make sure that's working fine. Okay, now we know that that's working fine. We can put these screws back in. Okay. Screw that one back in. And we get another screw, another screw, and we have one right there. Just keep in mind where the screw holes go. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 screws in total. So make sure those go in. If they're not threading in, there's a good chance that the shell is not completely closed together. So you want to make sure it's clamped together, and then try screwing it in. You don't want to try screwing it together, because then you can just cross threads. You can cross your threads, and that's not a good thing to do. another one.
That's another thing. You have everything free.
Screw this one back in. Alright. That looks like all the screws are back in. Just want to play with it, make sure it's working just fine. Alright, now we get down to the down and dirty part, which is really not down and dirty, but more than that makes me happy. Just clicking like that, and then with our barrel, want to slide that back in. Just don't forget this spring. This spring is pretty important to the way this marker functions, so you want to release it like that, and you don't want to move it. Just push it back in. Like that. Okay. And then make sure it doesn't come out. You just clamp it back together, and it'll stay in place for you like that, which is nice. Alright, so now we put the shell back on. Alright. It won't want to go together nice and smoothly in the front. I'm not quite sure. It could be because of the molding for me. It might not be the same story for you. So just keep that in mind. And now we start reattaching our screws. And since I didn't take out very many screws, a lot of the screws are still in the same hole. So I don't have to worry about mixing them up. So make sure not to torque them too tight either, because it is threading into plastic. Well, I don't know if the threads are themselves are plastic, but you don't want to find out by stripping them. Alright. Another screw. In there, because that was the one screw that fell out, or came out all the way, I guess you could say. That one back on. And then we gotta get this last one back on. Just like that. Alright. So then we get, oh, it's not all the way back on. Alright. So there we go. Now it should come right back into place. Put our rail back on. You should have 2 screws. I only have 1, so you don't have to just do what I'm doing pretty much and thread them back in. So that's back in there. Now we gotta focus on the top rail. We got our shell, or cover. It only goes on one way. You can't put it on backwards. It won't sit from the back, so just keep that in mind. Then goes back in. They don't need to be all that tight. It's mostly just a cover. Alright. And that's it. Put our CO2 cap back on. And that's all really is to it. Not much to do. And it's really not that hard. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and you have a great day.